Good afternoon, everyone. It's Penny here. And for those of you that have never met me before, my name is Penny Kroll. My company is Change Ahead, and I specialize in serious disease. Today, I'd like to talk about illness and disease. Now, from a holistic point of view, dis-ease is all about when we're not in alignment. But what happens if it meant more? So I want you to keep your minds open and let's start a conversation about this. It's so interesting. As per usual, that for those of you that have seen me before, I cheat. I love cheating. A reframe would be, I like making things simple for myself. So we'll stick to that one. So earlier this week, I put on my personal Facebook, what is the meaning of disease and illness to you? And I had great comments coming back. One guy actually said, what an odd question. Well, is it an odd question? Have we actually thought about what illness and disease is? And many of you have, because many of you have, I'm sure, been ill or have had a disease. But what about if we've never been ill in our lives? We've just had that odd common cold or something's happened. It's not until we get into that chronic disease pattern that we really start looking at that. So back to my little diagram. I don't know if you can see it. My video might be a bit far away today. I do apologize. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about stress, that sympathetic, where we love that stress phase. We think we can do anything in that stress phase. And it's only under or in balance when we feel over-energized. And how many of us have actually felt that, oh my God, we can do anything. We are superwoman. We start wearing an underwear over our trousers, over our tights, because yes, we can do it all. And I know that very well. Those moments of when I was running companies, and I didn't just run one company, I ran 3 companies at a time, and I thought I was invincible until that time that I realized that my life was not what I wanted, and I went into deep depression. So I'd like to focus on this part, that low energy. And during the 80s, when I started businesses, it was all about, when I was 25, I went to Anthony Robbins. Yes, I could walk on coals. I looked around and thought, what on earth are you guys doing here? We don't need this type of workshop. We can do absolutely anything we want. Little did I realize that in another 15 years, I'd be flapping around in my bed like a fish out of water thinking, what on earth is happening in my life? So this part, this parasympathetic, what are we doing in that parasympathetic? Well, naturally, by day, we're in the sympathetic, that's natural. And by night, we have to go to sleep, to regenerate, to repair. But when we become ill or we get a disease, we are normally feeling in this part absolutely no energy. We might have a fever. We think we can't get out of bed. We might be in a depressive state. Oh my God, what's the point? Why are we doing this? What's the point of me getting up? What is my purpose in life? We forget. We forget what our purpose in life is. So I'd like you just to jot in what is actually going on when you're thinking of disease or illness. And interestingly enough, I just want to share this. This is great because yesterday something happened and I didn't really like it. And I thought, oh, I'll just let it go. So remember last week we talked about acceptance and surrendering. And this morning I woke up with a little bit of a nose cold. And I've just done a great session with Sam Neffendorf. My cold is nearly gone in an hour and a half. It's nearly gone because I accepted it, released the trauma that we talked about, that unexpected, dramatic, isolating moment, no strategy, or the trigger moment, and I feel great now. You can still hear a little bit in my throat, but hey, that's 20 minutes ago I did the session. How quickly have we gone through this? So this bit down here, what does illness mean for you? Somebody said, Nikki, darling, where I am at the moment. What's going on for you, Nikki? Samantha said, I was there yesterday. Let's unravel that beautiful tapestry of the parasympathetic phase, what you're going through. What did you feel like? What are your symptoms? Did you have a fever? Were you feeling low? Were you feeling, oh my God, what am I doing? So I've just asked on Facebook, as I said, and I'm going to read out some of them. Jane Abboud has said that I'm not looking after myself. I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name. Tish, hopefully. It means literally that dis-ease of some kind, so release work to do on whatever caused it, whatever area of my life it came from. Anita is saying, for me, illness is a sign that I've gone off track somewhere, not following our inner knowing or awareness, and my body is asking for a change. Lovely Leslie is saying, an interruption to my well-being that distracts me from having fun and being in the moment. Now, this is really interesting, isn't it? So Nikki's saying that she felt flat and disheartened and felt low. Samantha's saying that she felt depressed, didn't want to get out of bed, body heavy, and feels totally different today. Nikki's saying funny throat, lost my inner ding. I love that. That could be your... Nikki Williams is a fabulous holistic practitioner, and she is the ding of the spiritual world. She's just so beautiful and intuitive. Marette is saying the body complaining. What happens if we look at this slightly differently? Yeah. What happens if we actually look at our body going, okay, you have not been listening to me because you've been taught to suppress all your emotions as a child. You know, I don't know about you guys, but as a child, a female, I wasn't allowed to express my anger as a little girl because it wasn't nice. It wasn't ladylike. My mother was Mrs. Bouquet. Mrs. Bouquet is an English program where, you know, the lady is all up, oh, don't, you know, we have to keep up with the Joneses. Everything's going to be fabulous. So that was my mum. So anything that went on in our household, we didn't show to the world. And we definitely did not show our emotions to the world. We didn't show anger. We didn't show sadness. We didn't show grief. We went to funerals and stood there, very stoic, very, let's step up our lip, have a cup of tea. Everything will be great. So I wasn't used to actually knowing. I never learned how to express an emotion. So as I grew up, I thought I was having a great life. Yes, superwoman, I can do anything. I didn't have any fear. That was a load of bollocks, wasn't it? I've lived my life in fear. And that is a stress mode. That high energy, that stress mode. When we have that acceptance or we surrender, because this point is not sustainable. We cannot keep awake. This is why torturing people to stay awake is so effective, because it's pushing us into stress. Our body needs to repair. It needs minimum of 6 hours a night. It's not weak to feel tired. It is our body wanting us to start repairing. So if our body is starting to repairing, is it weak, or are we off balance, or is it a process, a natural process of the body saying, come on, Penny, come on, Nikki, it is time now for you to actually live your true authentic purpose. So it's not bad or good. These are old words that we need to let go. There's nothing good or bad about cancer. It's not a negative thing. Cancer is not there to kill us. It's there to teach us a lesson. Every cancer client I've worked with that has transformed their lives has never regretted having cancer. They have totally changed their life. This is not just about eating, guys. I've worked with people that have been on the healthiest diets and been the most miserable. This is not just about living in sunny countries. Facebook, I love Facebook. Facebook in Denmark seemingly makes Denmark to be the best country in the world. Yeah, I have a lot of clients from Denmark who are in pain and their body is going through the same process. It's not about which country that we live in or where we live, or it's about how we are expressing ourselves to the world, being our true, authentic self. So Samantha's just saying, yep, I was manic on Monday, then felt, was yesterday Tuesday. Yesterday I felt depressed. This is a process. When we go around into that mania phase, we have to come down into the repair phase because it's not sustainable. And Nikki's saying replenishing. So what happens if we actually just started talking about illness as rather than something negative? It's actually a positive, that our body is actually, I've just jumped down because I printed this off, our body is actually trying to repair. I printed this off, I've stopped using my mobile because that was a little bit disastrous last week. The medical dictionary says that disease is a pathological process having a characteristic set of signs and symptoms. It may affect the whole body or any of its parts. Pathologically, prognosis may be known or unknown. Now, isn't this interesting? 98% of disease is unknown due, according to the Merck manual. Isn't that interesting? Another disease from the same medical dictionary, an interruption or a disorder of a body, system, organic structure or function. What happens if it's not a disorder? What happens if that part of the body that's doing something is actually the right order, the correct order? It's the order that our body is supposed to do until we wake up, smell the coffee, and actually start living our lives as the true human beings. Otherwise, we will just keep on cycling around. Do you remember I spoke about that in the first week? That if we don't look at what is actually affecting us, about how we respond, because we cannot control the world, guys. We cannot. We can meditate 24 hours a day. We can do the whole Oponopono. We can do everything, but we cannot control our neighbor coming home late and putting the radio on. We cannot control that boy this week or last week in Florida taking that machine gun and shooting 17 innocent people. 17 innocent people. Do you think that they deserve that? That it was in their karma? That, I think we have to take a step back and look at and listen to how we are telling the world in Facebook that it's karma. That wasn't karma for these 17-year-old kids. That was a kid that was very, very ill due to traumas of his childhood that was not being helped, that was not being looked at. I'll be talking about mental illness in the next 2 weeks, but today I want to talk about the physical ailments of our body, even that word, ailment. It makes it so negative. Oh my God. So we've got a couple of people. Sarah's saying, my cancers taught me that I wasn't loving myself and I was putting my feelings away and focusing on how others felt. And hands up, or just hands up, I'm not on a live webinar, a live workshop. Drop in the comments how many of you have looked after others. Is it a feminine thing? Are we number 2 in the Enneagram when we're constantly looking out for others and not for ourselves? I was taught it was selfish if I didn't do things for others. But perhaps we can even turn that selfishness into self-fullness. Isn't that better? Isn't that a better feeling when we're actually putting ourselves first rather than doing anything? I know this. I run martyrdom really well. You know, the Joan of Arc, on the horse. Look behind, where's my army? They've all buggered off, guys. So excuse my swearing. Because I run it so well. Is it time to wake up? So we've got some, I'm a good little helper. Yes, we're there. Mummy, oh, Mummy's little girl does all of this. Daddy's little girl. What are we doing for ourselves? So Leslie's saying it's a natural course. Samantha's asking, can you do the repair without being depressed? Yes. And the wonderful thing when I'm working with clients is when I guide them to actually see that the repair is not negative. It's actually just a natural process. If you think about the trees outside, in the winter, when the trees fall off, we don't go, oh my God, the trees are dying, the leaves. No, it's a natural process because we need these leaves to drop to the ground, to start to ferment or do whatever leaves do, so that the soil is nurtured. And I don't know the whole, that was a really bad analogy I came up with there because I don't know enough about gardening, but we need the leaves to actually feed the soil. And then the winter time, the leaves, the trees look, all forlorn and naked. But they're not dying. They're in rest. They're hibernating for spring. And then the spring comes. I don't know about you, but I'm so looking forward to spring, the 1st of March, these little buds. I got a daffodil in my garden. How many people like that when they see the daffodils growing up? And that makes us feel. So it's about an internal feeling, Samantha, that when we actually acknowledge that this part is not about a negative, that it's okay, that we can self-nurture ourselves, that we can have a duvet day, and it'll be okay that we stop, and we might have to cancel our clients, and we might have to say no, the word no. How many of you do it? Just practice saying no. No. Thank you. No. At this precise time in my life, that does not feel correct for me. So no, thank you. Bye-bye. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to tell people to go away. Just say no. Practice that, guys. Corinne is saying the chronic people pleaser, and bless Corinne, she's going through such massive stress repair, keeping her in that chronic cycle. Mary Jane is saying, yes, I've looked after others. I've learned now the hard way that I need to put myself first. So I've stopped quite a few of my ingrained habits to help me, and it is habitual. This is a habitual thing. So rather than just trying to change our life immediately and trying to clear all our crap, all these traumas, all of those things, let's take things slowly. We can't rush the sun rising. Do you want to rush? One of the most wonderful things in the world for me is to watch a sunrise or a sunset. Do we want the sun to go? Do we want it to go? No, we can't. It's not our purpose. Our purpose is to slow down. This is what mindfulness is all about. Staying in the present, not rushing everything, not trying to push everything. Leslie is saying she embraces the repair now. Kasia is saying, I used to babysit everyone. I put myself back in this pattern, then say stop again and again until it'll be neutral. It's better after a while, and I know when it happens. So the more that we can slow down and step back and accept that it's okay for us not to feel 100% every single day. It's our body's way of inviting us to look at our life. What are we not liking out of our life? What is triggering us in our lives? What is actually making us feel that way? If we just stop again and pause. Because we have a choice only about our own lives, not about anybody else's. And we can choose, once we've cleared all these traumas, and I will say this, or let them go. There's many modalities. I prefer tapping and matrix re-imprinting, but there's many modalities to help you breathe. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And in that moment of pausing, then we have a choice of how to respond to these triggers that happen on a daily basis, perhaps. And the more that we can slow down, the more that we can choose our life. And there's little clapping hands. Oh, how lovely. I've never seen a clapping hand in the comments. Well done, Samantha. Samantha's our techie coach. I love that bit. What else have we got here? Morette's saying trying to push everything pushes the body. So it's so correct though, isn't it? So why are we completely pushing? I see so many practitioners and therapists, they start unpeeling that onion and then they want to push it to make it the little shallot. But that's not our journey. That's perhaps not our purpose. The hardest part, Kasia is saying, is with family, as they push us back to the same role as a pleaser. But I choose to say no. Wait, go you, Kasia, because it's time for us. Perhaps, and I personally know this, I'm going through the same journey, a very interesting journey with my own personal family, that they are slightly pushing me. And I'm endeavoring and working on this and looking at myself to take a step back and seeing how I respond, rather than that old penny ways of the habitual way of responding, knee-jerk action, react. This is not our purpose. Our purpose is to look back and go, okay, we have a choice now. And it can be challenging. So to slow our lives down, to start making changes, very small incremental changes. In Japan, they have a saying, hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, kaizen, small changes. A ballet dancer who's the perfect prima donna doesn't become a ballet dancer overnight. She starts, and it's painful, small steps, doing small steps. The bodybuilder doesn't just wake up one day. And a bodybuilder, interestingly enough, when they go to the gym, they're actually pulling their muscles, stressing their muscles. But if they don't rest and repair, that bodybuilder will not build his muscles. And in the same way, our prefrontal cortex is like that. It's all about habit, because the habit comes from here, from the back of the brain, not from the prefrontal. So to build our logical thinking, we need to do it slowly, to start a new habit, to start rewiring these neurons and neuropaths, because we're so hardwired into an old habitual that illness and disease are negative, that they will kill us, and they could. I'm not denying that diseases can kill us, or illnesses can kill us. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is, what about if we stepped into our own authentic self, listened to what is going around us, what is triggering us? We can't stop these other people, but we can choose how to respond. And the more we learn how to respond, the more that we will cycle in a true sympathetic and parasympathetic cycle. A nature, it's nature's process. It's nature's process in many countries to have winter, spring, summer, autumn, and you can see the cycle of nature. And I say many countries. I once said in Finland, you know, the sun rises every day. And they went, no, it doesn't. And I went, okay, we'll move on from that. So now I say many countries. Benita's saying she had a perfect cold virus today, flexing her immune system. So what was getting up your nose? Or what around that cold, Benita? What was going on? Flexing your immune system. And of course, diet has a part to play, but never deny yourself. You know, when people start going, right, you can't do this, don't eat that, don't have a glass of wine, where's the enjoyment? As a human being with that largest cortex of the animal kingdom, that gives us the enjoyment pathway. So we can enjoy that ice cream, we can enjoy that pina colada, we can enjoy that pizza, but it's not an everyday thing. Where's your enjoyment? I love going out with my friends and having a lovely meal and a nice glass of wine. That brings me joy. What makes your heart sing? I don't do it on a daily basis. And at one point of my life, I was choosing food as my only enjoyment. That also is not the way to go. Leslie saying, notice where you are and choosing the next step. So what are your thoughts, guys? How can you actually think about your life and where you are at the moment, and how that you can acknowledge that parasympathetic, that feeling ill, that fever, what can you do about it? Let's just pop that into the comments. What would you now do knowing what I've just explained to you, that sympathetic, parasympathetic, a process. But when we're amplifying the stress, when we're really ill, and so many people nowadays have chronic illness, yet they look okay. These silent diseases, these silent chronic diseases that are working internally within us. And the doctors will tell us, not because they don't understand, it's because they're taught in a very Newtonian way. Newton, the mind and the body are separate. Nikki's saying, thinking of it as a call for self-love. And do you actually appreciate who you are? Are you being authentic in your life? Are you living your true life's purpose? What is your life's purpose? Have you thought about that? Is your life's purpose something that you think just because you've healed yourself with a modality, you have to do that modality? Because that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes our life's calling can be a stand-up comedian, or to be a typist, or to be a mechanic, or to be a gardener, or to be a street sweeper. That is what is calling you to do something, and it doesn't necessarily have to bring in money. So we may have to look at our calling as a separate from our actually money-making job. Has anybody thought about that? If you're not making money as a therapist, what is going on? Maybe that is not what truly you are supposed to be doing. It could be a sideline. Perhaps we can have two things to do. Just a thought, merely a thought. Ute is saying, do I need a life's purpose? Except for live your life. And that's great, isn't it? Because when we're living our lives, what is a purpose? What is a purpose, the meaning for it for you? I had a great life. I thought I had a great life. I thought my purpose in life was to be in New York, live in a penthouse and create fun. But that wasn't my life's purpose, because I became ill. And the illness was my body saying to me, this is not what you should be doing in your life. So now I do something differently. I share my knowledge with you guys, with my clients. I work with specific serious disease cases, and that gives me my soul, my heart just sings out with joy. Death doesn't scare me anymore. Pain does. I'll acknowledge that pain scares me. What do you think about that? Oh my God, Penny Kroll. She's a practitioner. Why doesn't she tap on that? Why doesn't she let that go? Because I acknowledge pain scares me. Are we acknowledging our fears? It's okay to have fears. We would be locked into a mental asylum if we just went around and didn't have fears. On a biological level, we have to have fears. Otherwise, we'd just be stepping out in front of cars, we'd be stepping off cliffs, we wouldn't be thinking about how to survive. It would be ridiculous. You know, it's the amount of parents that I watch, that they watch the little kid climb up on a tree. Well, they have a right to feel fear that the little child is going to drop from that tree and break themselves or injure themselves. So fear is a natural emotion. And then sometimes I think we get carried away with, oh, we can't be fearful, we can't let go of that fear, let go of that fear. I'm talking about a different type of fear, a fear that keeps us on the couch watching dead enders, that fear that won't allow us, give ourselves permission to step into who we are, the true authentic self of us. What is going to happen to us if we actually do step into the authentic self? The next time that we have a trigger and we go into parasympathetic, we may not get depressed. Our illness might not be as so amplified. Corinne is saying dancing and laughing with friends is my medicine. And Leslie is agreeing with me, hopefully. I put that word in, Leslie. Fear helps us navigate, because it does. Otherwise, we'd just be rambling around things, our life I'm obviously not in very feminine energy because I'm not multitasking very well today. My life purpose is to build other people up as others are doing for you. Corinne, that's beautiful. As long, darling, as you step back and look after yourself, because you're the most important one. Samantha's saying, do what you love. Ute is saying, just making experiences in this life as a human being. And now we can understand it's about the experiences. So sometimes when I'm working with my clients, and hopefully we can all learn from this, that experience, so stepping into how it makes you feel, how the taste in your mouth, imagining that taste in your mouth, hearing that beautiful positive moment, here, now, in the future, those experiences are much more pleasurable than actually thinking about, yeah, if I had $100 million, this is what I would do. Because we can have $100 million and we still will not be able to experience that sunset in the way that only we can personally do. Because we could be doing something else. We could still be triggered by the same people, by doing the same things, and still running the same crappy, shitty cycle that we get into. So, guys, that was my little ranty half hour for today. Has anybody got any questions about that? Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Jodie is saying, I'd have to work, but it takes up all energy. What does that mean, darling? Oh, sorry, I might have misread that. I have to work, but it takes up all energy. So what work are you doing? Because if you're actually having to push yourself into that energy and you don't like it, because is it because of a lack of enjoyment, or is it because your expectations are too high? What is it that is making you take up all your energy? What joy do you have in the world? What are you experiencing, or what can you experiencing that will build up your energy? What is keeping you? Look at your limiting beliefs, or beliefs that you've got that you might not deserve to live the life. Are you not worthy? Do you not accept who you are? Are you too fearful to be your true, authentic, wonderful self? Because, darling, I know you, and you're an amazing person. But do you see that amazing person when you look in the mirror? Because this is important. When we look in the mirror, do we see the true self, or are we seeing the hair, the glasses, the lipstick, the purple shirt? Or are we actually looking past and seeing our true soul? And that true magnificent soul is the most important thing to see, because we are all magnificent souls. And just to round up, I found a little quote, and it's by Jacob A. Riis. And he says, "Look at a stone cutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two, and I know it was not the last blow that did it, but all that had gone before." And that's what we're doing. So if we put in all of those little chips time and time again, we will become that Charlotte. And if I die as a Charlotte, I will be ecstatic. So thank you guys for joining me today. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I'll put this on as a record. Bye. Thank you. Love you all your beautiful, authentic selves. Bye, guys.